It has felt like forever and a day, my friends, but we are finally finishing Return to New York. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 21 from May of 1989. And after finally reading it in its entirety, I could see why this is an important part of the Ninja Turtle mythos. This essentially is what inspired the first Ninja Turtle movie. Remember when Raph gets jumped by the Foot Clan and thrown through that window at April's apartment building type thing, set to burn, and then they all escape to Casey's farmhouse. This is the series that inspired that. However, in this one, if you guys have been following along, if not, I will create a playlist. It's during Christmas time. Leo, it doesn't explain in the book. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Leonardo #1, so I don't know if he's going out for Christmas supplies or whatever it is, but he's the one that gets jumped by the Foot Clan in the alleyways of New York. And while he's trying to take on the entire Foot, he finds that Shredder has returned from the dead from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. And of course, the building burns down, they all escape. And then what kind of happens, from what I've read about this, is that Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman essentially got busy promoting the toy line, the movies, etc., so forth. So during this time when they were in the farmhouse, they didn't really know how to bring the Turtles back yet. So from that issue, which was like Ninja Turtles, because it did Leonardo, then it was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 9 and 10, I think. So almost 10 plus issues later, they finally sat down together, collaborated, and came up with this arc. And it still holds up. And this is the last part of it. And as the Turtles finally go to infiltrate the Foot, who have essentially taken over New York, I love this splash page. So we open up, we see streets of New York. And then we see the Turtles facing these 3 different monstrosity versions of the Shredder. And it is just absolutely gorgeous. Again, you can see the inspiration of Frank Miller, which Eastman has said has been his major inspiration for comics. And I love it. Beautiful depth and detail. And the battle starts. And again, I've talked about how certain modern comics will get too wordy, and then the older comics that are wordy, but it means something because they're building to something. This is kind of a happy medium, because what I've loved about this arc is just the use of letting visual storytelling happen. We see the Turtles jump, we see the mutant Shredders engage, and just cling, swoosh. While all this is happening, he's like, what the hell are these things? Can't afford to waste more time here. He could get away. They can handle this. And then, of course, Leo is trying to say, we need to stick together. He goes, Raph, no. And then he gets kicked in the face. Damn you, Raphael. Saki is mine, says Raphael. And so this book is essentially kind of a clock, in a sense, because we got now down to 3 Turtles trying to fight these Shredder versions, and Raph taken off to fight Saki. And Leo says, watch your brothers' backs. And again, just love it. Absolutely love it. And then I love how Donatello, using his analytical mind, he goes, these things, creatures think. They know exactly what they're doing, luring us to their home turf. As we see this one with the kind of the lobster shells just kind of pull up and make Donatello chase him. And again, guys, just look at this. Love this black and white work. And as we finally get to Shredder, we just see him patiently waiting, lurking in the shadows. It's like, we're pinned down. Where the hell are Leo and Raph? Don't know, but we got to hold out, do what we can. Make each one count. And I miss the violence of the original comics. Like, again, I grew up with Ninja Turtles Adventure, so I was more used to the cartoon as a kid, but I'm glad that I went back and found this. There's a great poignant moment between Raph and Leo. I don't want to give it away. I want you guys to read this book. But finally, Leonardo has his revenge. And we just see these katanas waiting out in the open, patiently waiting in the shadows. Oroku Saki, face me gladly. And then, just like, if you go back and watch the Leonardo comic book, when Leo sees him back from the dead, there's a face-off that looks similar to this. But instead, we see here that Leo is focused, ready to go. As well, when we see in the other comic, when they have this face off, he's shocked. And of course, each time Shredder, looking menacingly, he goes, Leonardo, I've been waiting a long time. And then this is where the talking happens. And I love this full spread here of Shredder. He goes, too long. 3 years ago, I saw you die. Why do you haunt us? Is that important? Yes, to you I suppose it is. Long ago on a rooftop, you saw Oroku Saki destroyed, torn to pieces by his own device. You saw me die. But they found me. My people found me. My pieces. The Foot Clan is very resourceful and has knowledge of a great many skills, some from the time of legends and myth, some from the time of logic and science. Together, all things are possible. Now, I'm going to spoil it, so if you don't want to be spoiled, pause this video, go read the series, and come back. And you're back. This panel, it's an interesting take, and apparently Laird did some research on this, so if you want to check it out, check it out. But he says, imagine a creature of our earth, a worm, small, blind, useless, but it eats. And from what it eats, it learns and adapts its own cell structures. Others eat from the same dish and join together, taking on a completely different form. The colony becomes a different being. 3 early experiments you met on your way here. The 4th time, they fed on me. They ate and began to think and act as one, form one structure, one being. I stood grotesque, alive. My lust for vengeance, my hatred for you, stronger than before. Long I've waited, but now the waiting is over. And so we kind of see how the worms are all intact to finally make a fully formed, recloned Oroku Saki. And again, it's so far-fetched that you have to have that moment of disbelief, but you're so caught up in the drama that's like, hey, that's actually kind of cool and kind of interesting, and at the same time freaking creepy, because now there are essentially 4 Shredders. One that has more is essentially the what do you call it, the complete success, and then the 3 rejects that can be a little more haywire, for a lack of a better term. And while we're trying to get into all this drama, again, we go back to Raph saving his brothers, just ripping through them. And as the book comes to a close, just like in the first Ninja Turtle comic when Leo first took on Shredder, the battle is brutal in a very kind of Kill Bill style. And then the ticking time bomb happens, because this, I'm not sure this is like chemicals or what exactly it is, because that's one thing that I will admit about black and white, is sometimes it's hard to gather what you're looking at. So I thought this was water when I first saw this, but apparently it's like some sort of chemical, or I'm not 100% sure. But it starts to fill up this building, and it's just a race against time. And then this final battle where they do the samurai face-off, where they just run at each other, kind of like a knight's joust, for a lack of a better term. And it all comes crumbling down, literally, as we get closure for the Turtles. And it kind of wraps up everything that had happened, and sort of just finally brings the Turtles back to a status quo, as they do a funeral pyre for the greatest enemy that they've ever had. And for those of you that may have or not picked it up, but that NECA Return to New York 4-pack that just recently came out, that's what those figures are based on, was this series. And why you've seen, if you go back and watch a lot of the Ninja Turtle cartoons from, like, not the original one, if I remember, but like the later 90s to 2000s ones, there's a lot of the cartoons that'll say Return to New York, and a lot of that, it's because they are homaging this, and why it's such an important part of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle history. So if you are a huge Turtle fan like myself, I highly recommend that you guys pick up these individual single issues if you can, because I think the collected trade is in color, unfortunately. But still, absolutely amazing little piece of comic book history. If you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little hero and a half shell bell next subscribe, that way we can continue to upload content. You guys get notified. Come to the channel, and we love to talk with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure that the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.